sketching graphs. So we've looked at graphs and figured out what the story is behind that graph. Now we're going to go the other way. So let's take a look at a situation, a story, and create a graph that goes along with that story. So sketch a graph that represents each situation. We're going to look at 3. A stopped subway train gains speed at a constant rate until it reaches its maximum speed. It travels for a while at this speed. It travels at this speed for a while, and then it slows down at a constant rate until coming to a stop at the next station. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this story, I'm going to break it down into the parts. So a stopped subway train. So first of all, it's stopped. So this is kind of my first hint as to what's going on. So we've got a stopped subway train, gains speed. So here we have it gaining speed at a constant rate. So this is my second thing that happened. It's gaining speed at a constant rate until it reaches its maximum speed. So this is kind of the top of where we end up here. So we've got this going on. It travels for a while. I clearly messed up my sentence here. It travels for a while. It travels at this speed for a while. So it stays at this speed. So it's not changing that speed. And then it slows down at a constant rate. This is my fifth part. Slows down at a constant rate until coming to a stop. So then it stops. There's the last piece of my story. All right, so I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to put them onto this graph here. So a stopped subway train. So notice here I start at the origin. I've got time and distance here because we're talking about how fast this train is traveling, what time it is and how far it's gone. So distance over time. So at 0 time, it is at zero distance. It hasn't gone anywhere, it's stopped. It gains speed at a constant rate. So that constant rate tells me that I need a straight line. And it's gaining speed, so it's an increasing line. I need to have a positive slope here. So here's my constant rate that's gaining speed. So here is my second part of my story. Until it reaches its maximum speed. So here it is at its maximum speed right here. So I shouldn't have any speed that's higher than that on that graph. It travels for a while at this speed. So here I am staying at a constant speed. Remember that slope of 0, but that slope of 0 means that it's not getting any faster, it's not getting any slower. It's not stopped, but it's staying at whatever this speed is. So it's traveling at this distance in this particular amount of time for a little bit of time. And then it slows down. So here's where it starts to slow down. Here's where its speed changes. So speed stays the same, speed changes. Until it comes to a stop at the next station. So it's got, hang on a second, go back to 5. 5, it slows down at a constant rate. So here's my 5, here's my constant rate again. It's going down, actually this would probably be 5 down here. It's got a constant rate because it's got that straight line that's decreasing until it comes to a stop. And it's going to go all the way back down to my x-axis because it's at a speed of 0. So that's my 0 speed down there. So I'm taking each part of this story and figuring out what part of that it looks on the graph. Now, do you need to number these? Absolutely not. But it kind of helped me to break down the story and figure out what was happening next. So here is a graph of the story of this particular subway train. All right, let's take a look at 2 more. As the available quantity of a product increases, so I need to have quantity on my graph, the price decreases at a decreasing rate. All right, so I've got decreasing, so I know this is going down, but I also have a decreasing rate. So we've talked about a constant rate, and a constant rate is a straight line. This is telling me a decreasing rate, so this is not going to be a straight line. It doesn't say it's a constant rate, it says it's a decreasing rate. So remember the 2 things that we need to talk about when we're describing a graph. We need to talk about is it increasing or decreasing, so is my line going up or going down, or staying the same if it's a constant rate that's not changing. And what is the rate doing? Is the rate changing or is the rate constant? So in this particular case, it's decreasing. So I should start up with my price and my price should go down. So as my quantity increases, one of whatever this product is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100. As my quantity increases, my price decreases. So my price should start up high and end down low. But it's telling me a decreasing rate, which means that my rate is not a straight line. So this isn't going to be a straight line. Now, when I think about a decreasing rate, so I already know I'm starting up high and going down low. I'm going to think about what that means. And I typically think about a roller coaster. So if I'm on a roller coaster and I'm decreasing, all right, I'm going the down part, it's the scary part, at a decreasing rate. So that would mean I'm getting slower and slower and slower because my speed is getting slower and slower. So that's kind of the end of the ride. So what does the end of a roller coaster ride look like? It looks like this. I kind of come down and then I slow down. So I kind of have that concave piece there. It kind of goes in. So I tend to think about my roller coasters when I think of this. So I'm starting high, I'm coming down low, and my rate is slowly decreasing. If I kind of took a ruler and imagined what is a constant rate at each of these little sections, it's steeper, and then it slowly is getting less and less steep as I go along that line. So here's the graph of the available quantity of a product increases as the price decreases at a decreasing rate. All right, one more. As television size increases, so I've got television size on my x-axis, the price, so I've got price on my y-axis, increases at an increasing rate. All right, so let's break this down. We've got increasing, so the price is increasing. So I know as I go along my graph, my price should start low and go up high at an increasing rate. So again, notice this is not a constant rate, so I'm not going to have a straight line. And if I think about, again, if I think about my roller coaster, if I think about I'm increasing, so I'm starting low and going high, so this is kind of the beginning of my roller coaster, and I'm going at an increasing rate, I'm getting faster and faster as I go up. It wouldn't make any sense to draw this line going this way, because that wouldn't, eventually that kind of flattens out. That's not really an increasing rate. That's kind of eventually slowing down. So I want my line to come this way, because eventually I'm going to be on that roller coaster. I'm going straight up and down, aren't I? So at an increasing rate. So again, I've got that curved line, and I kind of want to break down the pieces. The television size increases. Okay, that's traveling along my x-axis. The price is increasing. I'm starting low and going high. And at an increasing rate, I want to get steeper and steeper as this line goes along. So again, if I think of putting a ruler on this line as I go along, it starts out a relatively minor slope, and then it gets steeper and steeper as it goes. So as you look at a kind of a story and you're creating a graph, break it down into the different parts, and you want to focus on, is that line increasing, staying the same, or decreasing? And what is the rate doing? Is it a constant rate? That should be a straight line. Or is it some kind of a changing rate, and what is that line going to look like?